puppies? The dead cats?
It's not windy.
Okay, you don't want it?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's just do it. Might as well. We have a few minutes. Oh yeah, let's grab.
Can you talk to each other?
Yeah, what up?
Audio?
Can you hear me?
Can you hear me? Oh, are we here?
Are we here? Are we not here?
Are we here?
Are you a good boy?
We're here. Gus and I are here.
So is Maverick.
So is Maverick. Maverick and Gus, we're in the house.
And he's a good little boy.
Yup. Yeah.
Hey, you here? Will you help me save seats?
Save seat.
Can I save this? Will you help me save this seat next to you?
I think it's going to be a lighthouse tonight.
Good. Two people are coming, and I want to let them sit there.
Who?
A friend of mine and her girlfriend.
Cute.
Huh?
Are they cute?
Early sobriety, did it?
Damn!
Wait, what? I didn't get it.
I said your early sobriety doesn't matter.
Right.
No. Oh, well, I'm here. Who's out there? Is anybody out there? It's not if you can hear me. I can see the chat.
Fucking white low. Hey, you're the leader, bud. Right?
Yeah, that's the rumor.
$74. What's up, guys? We're going to be starting here in a few minutes. Hang tight with us. We'll start about 5. Thank you. You don't want this here?
What's that?
Maverick, come on. Come on. Come on, puppy. Good boy. Good boy. See JJ fucking won his first Kite Master?
I don't
You wanna watch?
care about this. Yeah. I despise surfing.
You surf though?
No, but I don't have anything to do with surfing culture.
No.
The worst.
It is. Some guys are good though. Okay, though. Hey.
Hello.
Hey, Maverick,
It's like-
no.
Either it's meditation
Lie
or
down.
they haven't started.
Down.
We haven't started.
Oh, oh. Oh my goodness.
I think
that's
Mikey's saving these 2 seats in front of me.
Yeah.
Oh, it's cold. Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good.
Have you been?
Freezing. Me?
Yeah.
Better.
Better?
Ish.
All right.
Whose dog is this?
Mine.
Oh. How are you?
Good.
He's staring into myself. How old is he?
10, 9,
Yeah,
9
you can
maybe?
tell.
He's got gray hairs.
Yeah. But he acts like a puppy. Yeah. He acts
Ew.
like a puppy and he has
The
energy.
eyebrows.
He's so
He got
cute.
the energy of a puppy.
Black eyebrows. The white eyebrows.
Oh.
There's no fire.
Go say hi to him. Go say hi.
Hi, buddy.
Say hi.
Come. Hi. Hi. Yeah, you know my eyebrows. Hi. Hi.
What's up?
Hey.
Oh man.
And then there's a little.
Hey day.
Hi, buddy.
This one looks like Luna.
Yeah, kind of.
Luna. It's Luna. What's up, girls?
What's up? How are you?
I'm alright, how are you?
Chilling.
Yeah.
Your hair is fire.
Thank you.
I love it.
Thank you.
Hi, buddy.
So we doing this? You fired up?
Yeah. I
This
mean,
is us.
All right. Welcome to the Monday night Born to Lose. It's the Born to Lose meeting, right?
Born
Born to Lose
Born to
meeting.
die.
Born to Lose meeting where we read Emmett Fox's Sermon on the Mountain. You're not required to be an alcoholic. You're not required to be anything except down to discuss God, right? That's it. We read Sermon on the Mount, and we do a 4-minute meditation. We have a live stream going, and all are welcome. Spread the word. The more the merrier. In these dark times, we need light, and I guess we should do the meditation. Then someone should tell us where we're at in the book.
yes.
All right. So who's you Gus? You're our timer.
Yeah.
All right. And you want to call the tune on the meditation?
We.
Ding.
Ding.
Oh, yeah. Hold on.
Oh, hold on.
Girls, scoot in a little bit.
We're waiting for.
Good. I don't
Oh, everyone get in frame. Frame it.
Maverick, come over here. Thanks. All right, guys, ready for a 4-minute silent meditation? Start.
right.
Come on, Greg.
Who wants to? You want to give us a breakdown where we're at and
Yeah. So what page are we on?
I think we're at the bottom of 61, if such a.
So we've been talking about how resentments can be like actually dangerous for us, and how it's important for us to act according to like our truth, but like the truth that we have when we're connected to our power, and when we pray scientifically to try to find that truth. Because like deep down inside, I feel like God exists in all of us, and we know the truth if we can get quiet and like really, we know when we're acting selfishly, and we know where we need, and if we do that, we need to make it right immediately, because we can't really afford to be living with toxic feelings or resentments or guilt or shame. We have to sort of. So that was one thing I remember us talking about. The recaps could be anyone who was here can add to where we are. I've had like a really, really, really gnarly like day, so I'm just kind of like it's a little off right now.
Gotcha.
Or maybe that's a good thing. I don't know. It's all good.
It is. We all might feel.
I've been humbled today.
It's a good thing.
Big time.
So who wants to get rolling on the reading?
Well, is that
The leader.
is that the recap?
I thought it was.
Where did we leave off?
We're at
60.
we're at the bottom of 61.
Oh yeah, we're good.
We go as planned.
It's good, you know. Yeah. He sort of decided that this year was gonna be a debauchery party, go to Mexico, because of COVID, since we weren't really able to work. He's like, all right, I'm just gonna use that as a right. And I'm like, he kind of mentioned that to me, but like I'm over here wanting to like tighten shit up and like get more on point, but you know, he's we're back on and things get a little scary, but I trust him. I think we'll be all right. It's funny, we both shaved and we both showing up looking real different because we shaved. You look good though.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, I like it. I like this look better.
Yeah. It's always good to go. Well, just I think on an important time check where we are in time space is like it's not some random day today. Like it is the winter solstice, right?
Wow.
So today's the shortest day of the year, or it was the shortest day of the year. But on top of that, you have the convergence today. And I don't know if people really know the significance of the convergence.
Yes.
Is that what you were talking about?
Yes.
So Rudy tried to break that shit down to me today, and I'm like, I don't fucking care about that.
No,
I'm not in a bad mood because the planets.
but you talked,
I don't.
but what you just said, that's why I'm like, it's important we know where we are in time space. Because so the convergence is super relevant to where we are in this journey as humanity, right? Because so it's been 800 years since the last convergence, and the convergence that Jupiter and Saturn are the closest they've been in the sky in 800 years. So 800 years it's gone by, but the significance of Saturn is Saturn's like a dark energy. So all the evildoers and the banksters and the weirdos and the freaks and the creeps and the control mechanisms, they're the cult of Saturn. So the cult of Saturn's age is coming to the end. So this is like the beginning of the dawning of Aquarius, essentially, which is where Jupiter comes switch to a more loving, open. Like for the last year, we've all been in a cocoon, sort of like being caterpillars, the old energy of the 3 dimensions and the 5 senses, to this new. We're shifting to a new dimensional paradigm, dude.
The 5th dimension.
The 5th dimension. And what most people don't know is that the calendars were shifted by the Pope a long time ago. So this actually is today. This is the actual day of the Mayan calendar that everybody was crazy about during 2012. It's actually today. From a new dimensional paradigm, and many people are attaching to the earthly goods of trinkets and the tactile realities of the 3 dimensions, while many of us are on a spiritual journey. We're leaving the 3-dimensional 5-sense world behind in this shift, and many will be left behind, and many of us are moving forward. So it's the shift between a caterpillar to a butterfly, and you could argue that the last year has been the chrysalis, where we've all had to deal with a lot of our shit, so to speak, and get ready for this new age, because this is the time to be sober. So I just was going to throw that out, that it is a significant day that we're in. Like, we will never see what we saw in the sky tonight in our lifetimes ever again.
So what happens? Yeah, I missed it too.
What happens tomorrow?
447, right?
What's that?
Was it 447?
Well, it's the shift. It's like not like a bolt of lightning. It's the shift is going on. You can see it all around. I mean, look at all the people. Look at all the people in fear. Those are the people who chose to stay here. This is a courageous thing. You're here. We're all here to get closer to God, which is a higher dimensional reality, right? The book talks about we rocket into the 4th dimension and all this stuff. We don't live in fear. That's why, like, it was significant what you said. It's like we have life and human existence, but we're moving past fear into love and God and grace. And many people would choose to stay down here with the cloth around their face and fear and hoping some man's going to save them, some institution's going to save them. Oh my God, some shot's going to save me. Something's going to save me. Nothing's going to save you except you choosing to go with God into the new paradigm. And that's loosely whatever you need it to be. If you're not, it's a God of your own understanding. And that might just be the doorknob or the hay truck or whatever it is. But we're leaving the old world behind right now.
Right.
We're also entering a new, like
Bree, can you sit here
Yeah.
just so we can hear you?
Yeah. We're entering like a better level of communication, and it hurts. Like he was saying, Saturn is moving out of its so we're moving to the age of Aquarius, which allows us to communicate more kindly with one another, because we were in such like a dark paradigm, I guess. And it's shifted. So you're gonna notice that it's easier because it was so hard in the years leading up to this point, that it's like a pendulum. It's been swinging back for so long that now it has to come forward again. And things are going to get better because they were so bad for such a long time. And this year, just with the pandemic and everything like that, I think that really shows how forced-skinned ourselves we had into our homes. And it's June, and then there's going to be another setback for a couple of months, and then it's going to get completely better.
All right. Yeah. So that's the day we're in. Who wants to read? Yeah.
61. But if such a person,
Yeah. Yes.
if such a person has some general knowledge of truth, he will, after thinking in this way for some time, begin to himself spiritually as best he can. But by this time, he will have amplified the error so strongly, will have allowed it to so dig in, that the handling of the cold will be really quite a difficult business. If upon the error first presenting itself to his consciousness, if that is to say, at the first moment that the possibility of catching a cold occurred to him, either through sneezing or feeling chilly, he had immediately rejected his dominion and affirmed the truth. That would probably have been the last of the matter, or at least the whole thing would have been over in a few hours. So I think we might have read this last week, over in a few hours. So I think we might have, but I see that as if you have any negativity or something come up, or like if you're like, I want to use, and you immediately address like, okay, I want to, but if I do, I'm going to go back exactly to where I was previously, which is a really shitty thing for me. You can rebuke that idea and move past it in a positive way. But if you don't address it and kind of rebuke it and you kind of just shove it down, then they'll catch the cold, if you will, or catch the allergy again, which is alcoholism or whatever you're trying to fight. So you have to reject the things that make you accept them and then reject them. That's what I think about that. Well, don't wait.
Hamish alcoholic.
Big P.
Big P, Big Paul.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, when I read this thing, right, like it's kind of trippy because it's that thing of like it's saying it's there's like the layers, like, right, if we truly are getting into like, again, this is coming from a heavy duty Christian perspective, right? So for a lot of people who aren't really into like the depth of the Christian thing is God has, like, you have the supernatural ability to overcome your obstacles if you choose to go with God. And that's what I'm talking about. If you just immediately rebuke your cold, essentially, the minute first thing, and apply what is the scientific prayer, right, and move by it, you're not of this earthly realm. It's like this higher thing that you is, for me, like, I listen to a lot of pastors and stuff, and they talk a lot about the supernatural ability. Like, God is displayed, again, this, you don't have to buy into this thing. This is just kind of, I'm explaining it like a little bit of the Christian identity, is God supernaturally resurrected Jesus after he was crucified. Most people think about the crucifixion. It's all about the resurrection, which is this supernatural ability to overcome the earthly, fleshly realm of the 3 dimensions and 5 senses. So with that, you can petition God to supernaturally fix anything if you truly understand the power that God is. But most of us are so conditioned to I always talk about it as changing God. Like, I come to God and be like, God, will you pay my phone bill? Mm-hmm. God's like, okay, but I'm God.
Yeah.
Like, because remember, like in the beginning of sobriety, it's like, what, life beyond my wildest dreams and all that shit. Well, we spare change dream in the beginning, like, oh, I want a like Ferrari. God's like a car. I'm God. Do you want like, oh, I want a like Ferrari. God's like a car. I'm God. Do you want like happiness and abundance and like personal self-worth and peace and harmony within yourself? But all these things come from a supernatural place to overcome the earthly shit of a basic cold. Like, there's all the, like, God gave us a medicine cabinet of plants and herbs and vitamins and healthy living and all this stuff. It's this thing of like, we don't apply ourselves. to the big picture of God, because we're not applying the scientific prayer. Like, we're not with God, and God's like, dude, you can't get sick with me. Like, I'm rolling hard with you, but you keep spare change. You're gonna spare change me about a fucking cold? Okay, be sick. Like, be sick. And the minute you practice this more and more, it's like you realize that this is just, for all intents and purposes, just an illusion. Like, there's nothing here. This is all fucking fake. Scientifically, it's been proven over and over again with science. It's mostly just space. Like, nothing. And that's about, we attach to it, dude. Like, yeah. And I keep reading, it seems to be to move us away from the attachment to the earthly and get to the supernatural God space. Anyway, that's my trippy take on it all.
We just read the bottom of page 61.
I was listening on YouTube.
Nice.
You look at the next chapter.
I mean, he's gonna keep talking about not letting it sink in.
The cold,
Yeah, he's gonna talk about that.
the fear.
The more you talk about it and think about it, you're just adding more energy to the problem and not being in the solution. Pretty much dig more into. I'll go into the next paragraph. He's gonna keep hitting that. He's gonna go for the throat more on that one. Okay. Precisely the same rule applies to any other form of error thought. Business family difficulties should be handled in exactly the same way. We should have read this paragraph last week. Let us suppose that upon opening your morning mail, you find bad news concerning business affairs. It may be that you find a notice informing you that the bank in which most or all of your money is deposited has failed. Again, the usual thing in such cases is to dwell upon it at almost any length. Many people in such a case would quite saturate themselves with the thought of ruin by thinking over it all day long and probably all night long too, and by discussing it all its details with other people and rehearsing every kind of trouble and difficulty that might come to them as the result or the occurrence. In addition to all this, there would, in many cases, be bitter resentment and condemnation towards the people, bank officials, and so on, who would be held responsible. Now, even a very slight knowledge of the causative power of our thoughts will show us what the result of all this must be to increase and multiply the trouble and make it more and more difficult to escape from it.
Yeah.
Like we've been reading, you affirm what your life is going to be. Like, life is what you make it. If you say this is shit, the energy is going to make sure that it makes it shit for you, pretty much, you know? Because you affirm, you are what you affirm. So the best result is to not let it dig in and get right in the next paragraph.
Gus, this paragraph couldn't come at like a better time. You know, it's crazy. You know, Pat and I are trying to open up this spot, sober living treatment center, and basically, like, our investor came in last night, and at the bottom of the ninth, and like fucking basically whacked all the chips off the table, right? So it seems like, and like, you know, like wasting time. But I don't know, like reading this, Like actually last night I couldn't sleep. I was like fucked up, and then I kind of I couldn't sleep. Like I was like fucked up, and then I kind of tried to let it go this morning. And it's like helped a little bit, like with a lot of prayer, because when shit doesn't go right for me, man, like I drink straight up. You know, that's been my MO for many years. And
Even when it does go right, you drink.
yeah, but especially when it goes wrong.
Yeah.
But then it goes wrong, and but this has been like a worry, and I have this characteristic of like I feel people will betray me, and they'll go and like take stuff from me, and it's happened a lot, you know, and business. So it's been hard, but the prayers really helped. It's like, you know, I spoke to a couple people, but it's like it is what it is. It is what's gonna be, and you know, there's no me like trying to force anything anymore, instead of just letting it play out the way it's gonna play out. Which for me, like, is not the way I roll. Like I usually go in harder when shit like that happens, you know. But yeah, thanks for letting me share.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, this is crazy. It's great. It's speaking to me to remember that the difficulties are going to come. Like life to present difficulties and hardship and illusions of pain and fear. It's going to give me a lot of reasons to be in fear. I mean, they're saying to me, and like what Paul was saying last week was, you don't need to be in fear. And that is a very, very difficult, almost impossible pill to swallow.
Yeah.
For maybe harder for some than others, depending on how you were raised, also depending on how much you've lost in life, you know. And I have lost and failed a few times and learned from those situations, and it rebuilds itself, and you start getting more stuff, and you have to. That's why I think it's important for me, I can only speak for myself, to continue to come and to continue to do this work, because it says in the book that it depends, you know, my happiness or my, you know, how treated I am is the spiritual condition, or my you know, my this disease that I have called alcoholism. And if I don't treat it for reals in the day I'm in, inevitably this stuff is going to start affecting me. And yeah, it you know, we're just, I don't know. That's what we're here trying to do. Let go, I guess, and just have faith that everything's going to work out.
The Hamish alcoholic.
Hamish.
The Hamish alcoholic.
Hamish.
First getting sober, right? Like the beginning, like first getting sober, right? Like the beginning, like fucking greenhorn beginning, like day one shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was all about like, I'm not gonna drink, I'm not gonna use, get through the day. All day, the whole day was like, I'm not. And then, oh no, a couple months into it, maybe 3, maybe 60 days, whatever, it was like, I'm not going to. Like, I'm not going to drink today. Like, if instead of I don't want to, it's like, yeah, I'm not going to. And then I remember it like about 6 months into it, I realized that they were the same fucking thought. My mind was consumed with drugs and alcohol. One was, I don't want to, I don't want to. One is, I'm not. But they're both, alcohol and drugs were consuming my mind. And that was like when I had the epiphany about it, like that I was obsessed about it one way or the other. And that was almost when I like, if I read what this is it's not whether you're in fear or not in fear. It's the obsession to be to think that you need to be one way or the other about it. Like when I get fear now, like when shit happens in life and stuff, like I don't pretend I'm not in fear. I just know that it doesn't matter anymore. That like it's just some shit that my mind is telling me. It's not that I don't experience it. It's just that I know that like it doesn't matter anymore because I already got a second chance of life, right? Like I already fucking did all that bullshit of like sitting around fucking fear this and that and this and that. Like it's all right. We grabbed a hold of this like a drowning man. Like that whole like the alcoholic mind in the when we used to do prime time, like what is the alcoholic mind and the thinking and the whole thing. Well, we know it's all bullshit and all alcoholism and fake and nonsense. But if we go to God, God's been showing us the entire time that it doesn't matter what the fuck we think we do. He's got us. So why sit there and dwell on the cold? Just go fucking boom. It's the same with the fear and the financial hardships and all that shit. It's like, yep, okay, now what? Now what do you got for me? Because the fear is just the fear one way or the other. You don't even have to like lay. It just is. So the minute it just is that lower thing, just like the drugs. Like I could be in fear all day long right now about what the fuck's going on out there. I got kids, the whole thing, like the madness. I don't have any fear about it because I'm so past the fear. It's not even fear anymore. I only got one place to go. It's God. Right? Like, does that kind of make sense? Like, I don't obsess on it anymore. It was a thought that came up in my process. I went, okay, yep, I'm fucking scared. Now what? Well, there's only one answer to fear. Is more fear or God. Right? Like I can sit and be in fear, or I just go right to God, and God's like, dude, none of this shit's fucking real, dude. I proved it to you over and over and over again. Remember when you were dying drunk, and you couldn't get sober, and you were like, I'll never be able to do this shit. I always write, what do they say? Like the last day that you got before you got sober, a day you're in. Think about that last day when you're fucking doom and gloom and life is fucked and there's no way out. And then the miracle happens. Here we are. Some of us 1 day, some of us 10 years, some of us many, many years later. But God's already showed us that whatever we fear is insignificant to his grace. Self-imposed, yeah. And we can dwell on it forever. I can dwell about some shit forever. But at the end of the day, like, fuck it, man.
How do you turn that switch? Does it take you a day to like get over the fear, or is it
even pretend I need to flip the switch? I just allow it to be what it is. Like I don't put it like when I
allow it to be where it is, then you just like put it in a shelf.
Well, it's not even that. Like if I used to do a lot of Course in Miracles stuff. So like a lot of it is about like the mind label shit, right? It's just constantly, that's a can, that's a book, that's Pat, that's Paul. So like a lot of it is about like the mind label shit, right? It's just constantly, that's a can, that's a book, that's Pat, that's a fucking wall, that's fear, that's what it is. And so it's that thing of the minute I stop caring what it's called, it just is what it is, and then there's nothing left but God, because we've already made the decision to turn our will and life over to the care of God as we understand him. So it's all just lower stuff, and that's the thing. Is like that's why that scientific thing was so important, right? We just petition God, like, get me now, and God's like, dude, are you breathing? Like, okay, are you? And like, are you breathing? Okay, are you? And boom, if we can get right here, right now, dude, it doesn't matter that they wipe the shit off the table or they're going to stick needles in the side of my head or whatever it is, because like right now, I'm with God. Fear, I get all crazy about shit, dude.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter because it's just me telling you some story I've concocted in my head. Oh, I'm sick today. You know, are you sure? Like, I can be. You know what I mean?
yeah.
I could be like, that's what's going on out there. Like, oh, I fucking, yeah. We see it all around us,
Yeah.
but we're with God, so we don't have to live like that anymore. It's not denying fear, from what I understand. It's truly not trying to flip the switch. That's the digging in, right? Like trying to flip the fucking switch.
Yeah.
Like I'm putting all this energy to flip a switch to deny what is the truth. Like who fucking cares? The God's like, I got you.
Yeah.
Don't even give it any
Yeah.
space.
Yeah. Thanks, dude.
Like you just said, it's God as we understand Him. In my experience and in my belief, taking these losses is helping my relationship with God. It's building a new character. It's helping me get a new relationship each time. It's making my understanding of God even bigger. Like you said, like now it's like, what do you got next for me? What do you got next for me?
Yeah.
It gives me a reason to go to that power. It gives me a reason. We're talking about scientific prayer and practicing the presence of God. I believe it depends where you're at, depends on your concept of God, the God you came to understand. You continue to understand. To me, God is all love, all power, all positive. Nothing negative comes from God. Negative is coming from my own understanding, from my own perception, from my own affirmation. If I know God's got my back and I'm practicing the presence of God in that moment, I know it's all going to be good. So I'm having an experience, whether it be negative or what I call negative or what I call positive. Maybe I call something that could be negative as a growing experience and a way to learn and not to do the same thing next time, you know? That's what I've come to live and learn. Go ahead, Rudy.
The alcohol. I'm fighting a lot of fear right now because my hair all fell out last year. And that was kind of like traumatic because when it did, I lost my stability. I started using a lot. And I have a bald spot right now, and I'm trying really hard to use it as a lesson and use it as like, okay, is this like God and life trying to like way this time, whatever that means. But like, you know, with Greg earlier, he was like, help me respond to these people who need help, who are reaching out to us on the Learning to Lose platform. And at that moment, like I had like pieces of hair falling out of my head, and I was like, I don't really want to deal with that right now. Will you like not ask me to deal with that? And then I realized, okay, well, I had a choice. I could have like turned to God, been like, okay, well, if it's gonna fall out, it's gonna fall out. Help people because that's why you're here, and use your energy towards that instead of putting it towards fear, which was what I was doing for like 15 minutes prior, running my fingers through it and having pieces fall out and doing it again and again and again and again. And I don't know.
Literally pulling it out.
I'm not pulling it out. It just falls out. I have an autoimmune disorder. So like, it's just interesting because when you put it in perspective, like this shit really helps because it allows me to realize I don't have control over that. And it's a waste of my time to live in fear and anger about it. Like, why is this happening to me again? And it's like, you know, this girl who's writing us on Learning to Lose, her mom's on meth. And I have a group of people that I get to talk to every day that love and care about me. And they would even if I didn't have a hair on my head. So what the fuck am I worrying about? You know? It's just awesome. that like I have the option and the blessing of getting to have it put in perspective for myself instead of just dwelling on the negative shit. So I rebuke that negativity. I address it, but I rebuke it.
So much growth for you, Rudy. We were talking about the other day.
Mm-hmm.
It's really cool, and you're so young
Mm-hmm.
for you to be able to be that connected, open.
I'm just so thankful.
Well, that's what you get. That's the power. That's the beauty of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Being okay
Mm-hmm.
today, right now.
Yeah, I'm gonna be fine.
Rebuke's a
actually-
good word too.
Yes.
It's actually possible to worry yourself to death.
Oh yeah. No, I yeah. Anxiety disorder, and I've been agoraphobic, trapped in my house on the left side of my bed, not being able to breathe and throwing up everything I've eaten every day for 4 months, and been scared that if I walked outside, an anvil was going to drop on my head. I'm only 90 pounds. So, like, I understand what it's like to want to worry yourself to death. So that's why when this happens, I'm like, no, don't go down that road. Because it only ends one place, and that's like, well, two places. You either use or you die. Or you use and you die. Instead of just being like, no, I'm fine.
Or what Paul was saying, it's like all that negative thought goes into something projecting the world. That's
Yeah.
what's gonna happen. Maybe it's not an anvil that falls in your head, it's something else. You know?
Yeah.
Come on.
And you're that source. You're the one creating it.
Yeah. And you feel like this thing's never gonna open, well, fuck. It's like it's gonna work.
Yeah.
We're gonna make it work.
Yeah.
If I let it go and say, okay, it's not gonna work, it won't.
Well, it's like the people like, you know, and like the alcoholic mindset is like the people who like pretend they don't want to have a drink, right? They really like, I don't want to have a drink, and they don't want to. They try to narrative like, I don't want to have a drink. When like that ultimately is getting them closer to having a drink. Like I so know I want to have that I don't even obsess about it in that sense.
Right.
Like I know I'm an alcoholic. Like dude, I don't care how far away. What do they say? The further away you get from the bottle, the closer you get to it.
Mhm.
Like I don't ever want to. I can walk into a bar. I can do all these things, but it's not because I'm not going to drink. It's because I absolutely will drink, which
Right.
gives me the freedom to move in it because I'm not deluding myself by the thing. And that's what I was trying to say about the fear. It's not that I'm afraid. It's that I'm terrified
Mhm.
about certain things, but I don't pretend that I'm not. And the minute I pretend that I'm not, I can let the stuff in to help me not be it. Because that's what it's saying is like, it's not that you're not getting the cold. It's just that you're not pretending you're not getting the cold. So you're not spending fucking thought cycle digging it in. You're like, boom, petition me out because it's real.
Yeah.
Like it's in that moment, it's real what you're experiencing when that dude's cutting you off. That fucking fear is real. To pretend you don't have it, I think, is to manifest it even deeper because you're giving it more weight than it deserves by not denying its truth. Like life's sort of like really oxymoronish and stuff, and like it's counterintuitive. Like, you know, it's like all the tough guys. You know, the tough guys, what do they say? Like real men don't cry, right? And then you find out that real men do cry. That you've been sold this thing of like, no, you're supposed to be in these moments when you need to be strong.
Mhm.
So I'm like moments when you need to be strong.
Mhm.
So I'm like, that's what I was trying to say.
Yeah.
Is like the fear is to be embraced, but not to be like denied and dwelled upon.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because the minute you accept it, you can go right to God.
Mhm.
But it's the minute you start pushing back on it that it's digging in like,
Do you
So,
think
like,
and that's almost counter to what this is saying too, which is weird.
Yeah, so accept the fear and give it right to God and don't put any more thought into it. Is what it's in a nutshell,
Yeah, I
right?
think.
do you think in
Right, Paul?
like
Mm-hmm.
Big book
in
time.
It's good because this is a very like a deeper level of the thing, right? Like, because it's almost saying don't even give it any in. But how do you not let it in without like not acknowledging what you're not letting
I mean,
in?
you don't have control of letting, really.
No.
Like if you're getting hit by a car, you're in fear. The car's coming at you going 60 miles an hour, you're in the middle of it, you're in fear. And then you gotta, I think it's like a natural, fear is a natural human condition. And right? It's like,
But it's how we react to it, right? So I'm always
no, but what we're saying is like letting that fear in. It's not even about letting it in. It's like I don't try to let it in. It's there.
so like in certain
Immediately.
roles. So like in leadership, we're encountered with a lot of scary things, right? Oh, Greg,
What's up, Greg?
egomaniac. We're encountered with a lot of things in leadership, right? So the way I react as a leader, my team is gonna vibe on that. So when fucked up things happen to me, I gotta not just think about myself at a certain point. I gotta think about like, wow, my reaction is gonna impact these people that are looking at me for like, what direction is the ship going in, Captain? And so, yeah, you're right. I gotta let it go in that moment, give it to God, see an out for my team. So like riding motorcycles taught me, right? Where I look is where I'm gonna end up. So like riding, see the side of a bus, that's where I'm gonna end up, right? So like in leadership, we have to, it's not even called foresight, but just have that sense of hope of like, all right, we're gonna go in that general direction. So when fucked up things happen, yes, we have to let go and give it to God.
Yeah.
Because our teams are gonna vibe on our energy after the fact. So if we respond in a chaotic manner, it's gonna fuck our team up. And they're not gonna hold faith in me anymore because they're gonna be like, wow, if my leader can crash under these circumstances, like what'll happen when shit really hits the fan, right? So
Mike, the alcoholic. Yeah, yeah. I mean, what everyone's saying is it's so true. So from my experience, like so a couple things. Rudy, thank you for sharing. So just like Gus said, right? Like when things go bad, I drink. When things go good, I drink. Okay, so Hamish talked about Christianity in the Bible, like so in the Bible it says, "As a man thinketh, what?
And do it.
Right." So that's where I can compare. Listen, millions of people have stayed sober. Millions of people have gotten through what I'm trying to get through. So once I let fear in, here's the thing. Some of you know this. So I have multiple sclerosis. And this is something I haven't been able to talk about a lot. But now I'm just like, fuck. Like, let's talk about it. So when I got diagnosed, right, with that, it was a huge, huge deal. So it was a matter of accepting it, but not receiving it into my life. Okay, so can I say I don't receive that? I accept that I'm an alcoholic. I don't know if I receive that. It's like we talk about rebuking it, like in my mind, in my heart, if I think it, so I do. So that's where it's like for me, nothing could help me except God. It's written. Like that to me is truth. So, but then again, I'm like, okay, well, without pain, we can't. Right. So without fear, I feel like without fear, I can't grow. And Pat said it a bunch. Like, what do you say all the time? The lyric, the light comes in through the cracks, and so that's where it's like for me it's a matter of accepting things, not receiving them. I don't want to live my life as a sick person. I don't want to tell someone I have MS and then be like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Okay, I tell someone I'm an alcoholic and they're like, oh, right. But other people, I can't receive fear into my life, because if I receive it in life, that means it takes over. If I accept it and can move forward, then to me, that's winning. But I have to experience pain, because most of the things I'm afraid of usually never happen. Ever.
No.
ever, like Gus says like, well, there's a car. Like, yeah, if I'm faced with a semi truck or a car that's about to hit me at 60 miles per hour, I'm probably going to die. So the fact that I'm trying to think of a problem I have today, and there's not many, because like Rudy said, I want to think the way Rudy thinks. Actually, I want to think the way you think when you just shared. Because no,
I know.
but you know what I'm
It's like 66.
like 6 or no, but the way you're talking, the way you just talked, yeah, 65 was close. So the way you shared is the way I want to think. Because guess what? Like I said, if a semi truck's headed my way, I'm probably gonna die, right? If I'm late for an appointment or something, I'm not gonna die. No one's gonna die.
Fine.
I'm not even fine. I'm okay.
My ego's gonna die.
Well, hopefully, because we
I'm kidding.
we have to like. So the thing is like I'm not gonna accept God, and like I'm going to receive the love that God tries to show me. That's the fucking difference. I don't want to receive sickness. I want to accept it and do what I have to do. But the thing with God and a higher power and a God of our own understanding is He wants us to receive that, because with that comes peace, stability, joy. So, anyways, I'm done.
I got something because Greg was talking about the ego, and right here in the 12 and 12 it says that it's our need for independence that builds these things. I'll just read it from here. It goes into our dependence on a higher power, which was what I was talking about earlier. It says nothing is going to turn me into a non-entity if I keep on turning my life and my will over to the care of something or somebody else. What will become of me? I'll look like the hole in the donut. This, of course, is the process by which instinct and logic always seek to bolster egotism and so frustrate spiritual development. The trouble is that this kind of thinking takes no real account of the acts, and the facts seem to be these. The more we become willing to depend on a higher power, the more independent we actually are. Therefore, dependence, as AA practices it, is really a means of gaining the independence of spirit. So it's like the more I trust God, the more I don't have to trust on my old bad thinking, which created my bad behavior. But I build this with my ego. I build these bad thoughts with my ego because I need some sort of independence. I need to be my own person. I need to be better than or less than. The ego does that. I thought I'd share that because we were talking about ego a second ago.
Ball.
You want to pick up the next paragraph?
Not really.
Thanks for your honesty.
Nothing to work on, right?
Amen.
Shit, where are we at again? Of course, right?
Yeah.
Of course, in such a case, a student of the Jesus Christ teaching would sooner or later start to drive all such thoughts out of his, substituting for them his knowledge of the true law of being. It may be, however, that having been taken off his guard by the suddenness and seriousness of the blow, it will be some time before he begins to handle the problem in the light of the truth. Many times, the proper thing to do, according to Jesus, is immediately he becomes aware of the bad news to turn to God, his real support, to refuse to accept the suggestion of trouble as binding upon him, and literally to drive and through the loss and danger right out of his consciousness.
together with the fear and the resentment that go with it. If he does this, working steadily until his peace of mind is restored, he will presently find himself safely out of his difficulty. In some way or another, the trouble will disappear and his fortunes will be restored. Either the bank will speedily recover itself, and there is no reason at all why one person's prayers should not save the bank and the fortunes of thousands, or if this for any reason be not possible, he will find that a sum of money equal to or greater than the one he lost in the bank will come to him from some other or possibility quite unexpected direction. Whoever shall call upon the name of the Lord shall be saved. Thanks, Paul. The principle would, of course, apply equally to any kind of difficulty, whatever, since universal harmony is the true law of being. A dispute or quarrel or misunderstanding should be handled in the same way from the first moment you become aware of it. Do you want me to keep going, Paul?
Brother. What do you got on that?
That's to you.
Same thing he's been saying, man. If you since we're going for the throat, if you go right for the throat, it doesn't need to sink itself in.
Yeah.
If you have a strong relationship with your power, if you have a what's the word I'm looking for? You have a solid God concept and you're firmly implanted in that, there's no reason to fear or have any problem. And if a problem should present itself, you go right to that power, scientifically, practicing the presence of God, knowing that your God concept is going to take care of you. And there's no need to fear. It's hard, like I said, with the ego thing, how we build our own independence. We create mountains out of molehills when life could be so simple as just to go to God. That's a hard one, though. We could, like I said a few weeks ago, we could talk about this all day while we're treated, but it's hard to dig yourself out of that fucking mountain. We made that mountain out of a molehill, but we made that mountain. If your God concept is strong, treat a sanity. You have a sound mind going into the problem. If your God concept is strong, that's all I got.
Who knew it was this easy, right?
Can be.
Like, I so overcomplicate things, and it's like my own head that just fucks it up for me. Like, I get into my head, I can play the victim role, I can play the villain role. Like, it's all me, right? When at the end of the day, if some shit hits the fan, I need to give it to God, is what it's pretty much coming down to. But yet my ego won't allow me to do that, right? I want to go solve the problem. I want to be Mr. Fix-It. When it's biblical law that I should take this to God, which is probably the last
question. Like, when that happens to you and you're in this fucked up headspace, you don't even think about taking a sippy sip?
Nah, because that's
crazy.
Nah, he says he's an egomaniac, so he wants to
fix it.
He wants to put the square through the hole his own way. He's in his own. When you're in your own way, you're in your own way.
Yeah.
When you're in your own way, you're in your own way.
And how refreshing is it that it's me that's in my own way? Because it'd be fucked up if you were in my way, because I couldn't move you. You know what I'm saying? That'd be fucked up, but it's me. It's me that's in my own way, and that's almost refreshing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's an old saying that I learned. If you're in your own way, you're in your own way. You're blocked.
Yep.
You're in your own way.
It's just trying to figure out how to get out of your. But that's why it's important to go through all these exercises, right? Like life's experience. You know what I mean? Is you have to when we begin it, you have to go through these moments to gain the knowledge of what you can and can't do in the moment. Like again, I always look at just the pivotal moment whenever in my life when everything burned down. Everything was gone. It was me and my boy. Like there was no gap in that God space. Like there was no, and I trip on it because I had practiced through all the fucking bullshit and this, but when the moment showed up, when I didn't anywhere else to go. There was only one choice to be made. You got this, right, God? And it was due to all of my blundering along the way. And all my trial and errors and like, oh, and this and that, maybe, and I don't know, and this and that. But when the real pressure showed up, because most of us don't get real pressure in life a lot. Like you're experiencing some heavy dutiness. We're all kind of going through it right now in this 2020, whatever the hell it is year. But I mean, I think there's a run from the experience that jacks people up. Like you're supposed to like go through all these things, so when it really counts, you don't have to run the gauntlet of this thing. It's almost instinctual. That's why like in the beginning, right? We do all these things to practice like showing up on time and doing all these automatic things. And it's like with God, it's like, yeah, we need to practice. But it looks like when we spare change God, or when we mess with God, or don't do God in these low scale things, so that when it really happens, really counts, when life is on the line with our kids, our children, ourself, our soul, whatever it may be, we instinctively know how to go through the process because we tried it out so many like low scale different ways, and we're like, oh, then it's just like
we're building a new character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I find it very fascinating like that, because if you had asked me the day before all that had happened, I couldn't have told you. I would have just flipped the switch like that and just been like, okay, God, you've got this and you handle it, and been like fearless about it. Like fear wasn't even in my space. It was like there was a surety inside of myself, like holding my little boy's hand. Like I had no doubt God had it covered.
No way to go but up.
Yeah, it was very interesting, and it reassured me of like that's how. And first thing that ever happened to me was like the greatest thing that ever happened to me, because I really got to see God's grace. You know, like I couldn't have done that without this horrible moment. That then, if you'd asked me that, I go, this sucks. But 2 years later, I go, dude, that was it. That was the greatest thing that ever happened in my life, next to my watching my son. Porn was the greatest thing ever. Second, well, it's like that sober thing, right? I never would have done it if I hadn't been sober. But I'm saying this moment where I fully had 100% faith and trust and just turned it over, dude. And it all unraveled her.
It was a rough
Where's
one.
God now? Come to believe it's something in that moment, right?
I've hit multiple bottoms in sobriety. But there's this quote, like, the true test of like a man's character is like what they do when the times are tough. Because, like, you know, when things are good, which they have been during the course of these meetings, it's like, fuck yeah, let's go. Stuff's great. Let's go to God. But then when like life hits you, like it's hitting us right now a little bit. It's like Paul was saying, it's harder because you're in your own way, but in like human being, in not in like my or your defense, like I think that's okay and that's normal. Like we're just not going through the big book and we're talking about how Bill was a liar. Like Bill was a stockbroker, right? But he really wasn't a stockbroker. He would investigate. He would go and visit businesses to see if they were worthy of investing stocks, which actually was like kind of like doper than being a stock. He was like inventing a new. He was ill. He was an ill dude, but he didn't really. He was like a new thing he was doing. So no one really knew what that was. But looking back on it, one of my sponsors, or someone you could say I work with, Michaelis, he's done like a lot of research, and we're going back through the book, and he's breaking every single little thing down, and we're going back through the stories, and he's explaining to me how the fact that Bill was a liar is actually like gave him a lot of hope, because it was like, oh, okay, this dude who started AA was flawed. And we're all flawed, you know, and like I'm in my flaws today, and it's like I don't need to like be. I just need to go to God, and I'm really trying to do that, and I really want to do that.
Randy would have his guys right.
Boy.
Because it doesn't. That is my boy.
Yeah.
He's done our podcast.
Yeah. That was his.
So because we don't, because it's not easy.
No.
Yeah.
Super
It's
hard.
easy to forget God
Absolutely.
in the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Like, right? Isn't that the thing? Is like the day we're in, right? Like, I don't get to wake up tomorrow with this. I wake up tomorrow and it's like, dude. Some days I wake up, I'm already fucked.
Mhm.
I wake up fucked some days. Like, concept of petitioning God. I wake up like doomed.
Yeah.
Like the whole thing already bummed, depressed, all my
So low key, like that, what you just said right there, helped me more than anything that's been said in this whole meeting. Just knowing that you struggle too.
constantly.
So I don't know if anyone's like me, whatever. That's just how I roll, and I think that like relating and to know, because right now I'm in it.
You want to know the gnarliest moment I ever had in my life, next to, like, for real, like me personally, was the day that I went to therapy with my wife. It was all fucking trouble with
Bro,
the thing.
we just did therapy.
So I went to therapy
and I'm, like,
with my
dying.
wife, and I'm sitting in front of
It was so gnarly. They were pulling my car.
No, I'm sitting in. I fucking
What?
suffer from you both. I
Couple
suffer from her, and the counselor look at me and like, what did you say? Because we've been doing this for like 6 months. I got depression. And they go, what? And I realized at that moment, or something like that, I never acknowledged my depression.
Right.
I'd bullshitted it. I'd said, oh yeah, I get depressed. Yeah, all that shit.
Yeah.
Dude, I ran out the next meeting. I went to the biggest meeting. First share, like, publicly went super about my depression.
Are you on antidepressants?
No, but it's what I was saying about the thing. The minute I fucking acknowledged it to the world, I made a YouTube video that day, dude. I shut it. Like, it was pretty heavy, but it was this thing where, like, I guess the suffering is so real. I guess I forget. I always am suffering.
Yeah.
That's where I like kind of
Was it immediately relieved, or did
almost immediately.
like the next day, or?
Yeah, me too. Let me get a timeline.
There was no. Like, I went public with it, and like, all right, I'll tell you this. I went to God with it. I fucking realized what it was, and I went right to God, and I go, God, what do I do? This is the problem I got. And the next day I woke up, and it was like a thunderbolt of lightning, dude. I went and changed everything, like overnight, changed my everything. It was weird. And I was like, I went right to this giant AA meeting, and I was like, dude, and boom, I was like, I got this problem. I don't know how to deal with it, but I'm fucked. Depression. And it was like this thing where it was like, because it was all with God, I was like, dude, God, what the fuck do I do? And God's like, dude, this is what you're going to do. You're going to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning. You're going to start walking down this fucking shit. And you're going to do this. And you get rid of all your clothes, and you're going to shave. And you're going to do, dude, I was Mr. Mom. I was a stay-at-home dad
with my wife killing it. I had cargo fucking shorts and a beard and a fucking pink mohawk. And I was fucking so depressed and fucked. And I had everything. I had my beautiful kid, my beautiful wife, my little garden, my little this, my little that. And I couldn't fucking figure shit out. And it wasn't until I was like, oh, I suffer from fucking mental illness, dude. And I went right to God with it. And God's like, this is what we're going to do. And sure as shit, the potential divorce was still ahead. And the fire was still ahead. But by the time that shit showed up, I'd already was moving in a direction with God of understanding what this is. It's real. But it's not.
I think I'll be all right. It's just I got hit today again pretty hard, and I'm just life will humble you. Grandiosity and my ego, and I was getting a little crazy, and I got humbled today, and I need to take a step back and just kind of just chill, life more, and
that inventory process too, man. Fear inventory. That's what helped me, man. I think that's why I don't have any financial fears. I was about 2 years sober, and I was doing my financial inventory, and that was my main fear. My fear inventory, my financial fears. Deep into it, my grandmother died. We lost the house. And I went homeless, lost everything. That's what happens. Difficult.
Oh, last week you had a personal. You could relate in a personal,
deep, passionate, yeah.
So when you heard me share, like you were relating to it in a big way, and it triggered something inside of you.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, because you went through that.
Oh yeah.
Right.
I had to lose a family member and a house. My mom moved to Hawaii. I was out on the streets by myself. Yeah.
And you got through it. We all get through it.
Yeah.
But when we're in it, it is hard.
Yeah.
And you're going to sit back and laugh later on. And you're going to have a bigger pact with God.
Yeah.
It's going to make your relationship stronger.
Yeah, we went public. Like, so I went public already. Now I'm thinking, I'm trying to bring God into it. I mean, you saw it. You already saw the fight. So imagine posting the actual therapy session. That's what I did today. You know what I'm saying? And it already has over 100,000. Both videos have over 100,000.
It was so gnarly I couldn't watch past a certain point. I got like 2 minutes in.
You couldn't even watch the video.
Because
so now I'm over here and I'm like, fuck, dude. I wonder how that makes me look.
Human, dude.
Right, yeah. But I mean, but there are a lot of people that are, but it's full. I'm being God. I'm like, yo, I'm just exposing my stuff, and that's the decision I've made to do with God. I'm good with that.
But you're right on schedule.
A lot.
We were talking about what Rudy was trying to tell you probably earlier about this what today is. That is real. Like those of us who can truly be in the truth of the fucking human condition.
Why couldn't you watch it?
Because it was too real.
Right.
Because that shit with that, I know that. And like whatever, and like he boogied off and was like, and I was like, dude, you know what I mean? Like, and I'm like pretty well trained at that thing, but I'm still a lunatic.
That's what I need to hear.
And I
so
still,
we're all working on it. See,
it's never. There's no.
You're
we
not
don't get out of here. We're not Jesus.
We're
not. We're fucked unless we truly acknowledge we're fucked. I think that's what it's trying to tell us. Is to pretend if we sit and dwell on the cold, that's not the real problem. It's all about God. The cold's not the problem. It's what we're doing with God that's the problem.
Yeah.
Isn't that why some people say that suffering is allowed? Because it brings us closer to God?
Every step that I suffered, I had to learn today when my boy cried, what? I had to examine, I had to reel it all back in again. Dude, I had to humble myself down and be like, okay, like what is my mission down here? what the fuck am I doing, dude? What am I all about?
Yeah.
Because stuff matters. I got the little dude looking at me like, you're full of shit, dude. Basically.
Well, that's another thing is like, I don't think it's all one way or the other. Like, we are all good at surrendering some stuff, but then each of us have our own difficulties when it comes to surrendering.
100%.
Complete abandon.
Where I might be really good at exposing my truth to people and making phone calls, I struggle in like other areas you might be good at, but you might have trouble reaching out to your sponsor. Like, we all have different things, and we're not like all good or all bad, or like we're not in like all faith all the time. Although I think that can be possible, and I'm striving for that. But like, yeah, I think there's in real life, there's gray areas, and there's always something to work. It's like we're spinning all these plates, and like we got to move to the next one, and we got to keep checking everything and making sure that all stuff is on the level.
Remember Joe Shaughnessy, right? My guy. You know, remember Joe?
Oh
Joe,
yeah, he
Joe,
passed away.
Joe was the
Boston Joe.
What's that?
He was like Boston guy.
Boston Joe, right?
Yeah.
So Joe was the dude that had all this stuff dialed, right?
Yeah.
And but he, you know, he had all sorts of stuff going on, but he had the ability to do. He was, if
your sponsor.
Yeah. If we talk about like percentage of it, like he was like 97% in the space, right? But I knew that for sure that he had crossed the fucking portal. That dude got to die going to visit his mom, dude, like asleep. No pain, no suffering, no unfinished business, nothing, dude. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think that the part of the thing is like we're the minute we're perfect, it's like we pass. Like that's the gig.
Same with Dane, my friend who died of cancer that wrote Learning to Lose. Like, he was just like I mean, you know, not everyone, but he's definitely somebody that I was like, damn, dude, like he kind of had it figured out. Like, he got married first. He wasn't doing things for the wrong reasons. He was writing all these great, amazing songs and not really worrying about like how they would do, or even if he put them out or not. He was just like this. And God was like, all right, you're ready to leave that sick, toxic world and come up here with us. So I tried to use that as an example to embody that in this world, but it's fucking hard, dude. I'm gonna read this next little bit because they just talked about the same principle.
That short paragraph.
Well, this whole thing that Ryan just read. I just want to kind of like catch up real quick. Basically, like, you're going to be okay. If you lose the money, it's going to come in some other way. Any kind of difficulty, universal harmony is the true law of being. Dispute, a quarrel, misunderstanding should be handled in the same way from the first moment you become aware of it. And then it has this little quote, or I don't know what, Bible.
It's leading into the next paragraph.
That it was said by them of old time, thou shalt not commit adultery. But I say unto you that whosoever looketh on a woman to lust after her hath committed adultery with her already in his heart.
It's the thought, not the thing.
In this unforgettable paragraph, Jesus stresses the master truth, so utterly fundamental, yet so unsuspected by the word at large, that what really matters is the thought. people have always been accustomed to suppose that as long as their deeds conformed to the law, they have done all that can be reasonably expected of them. And their thoughts and feelings are of little importance. And that they, and in any case, these are their own business. These are their own business exclusively. But we know now that any outward act is but the sequel to a thought, and that the type of thought to become habitual will sooner or later find expression on the plane of action. We understand now, in the light of scientific Christianity, that the thoughts literally are things, and that our choice of conduct really lies in our choice of the kind of thought to occupy the stage of our mind. In other words, we have discovered that wrong thought is just as destructive an act as wrong deed. So I got hit late last night with like, you owe $20,000 in taxes last year. And this is, you go like that, whatever. Like you get hit with that. You get hit with that. And they go like that. Like we're not.
I got hit with that though.
I know, but like that's on top of all the other shit I've been talking about. Right? So it's like, okay, so now I'm thinking, and then this is after like the investors pulling out. It's like all coming at me, right? So I wake up this morning and it's like I'm thinking, like my thoughts are like fearful. What am I gonna do? How am I gonna fix this? Right?
Yeah.
And then I go to my wife with that kind of thinking. It was almost, and I hadn't eaten. I didn't pray.
Hungry, angry, lonely, and tired.
Veronica. you don't have, you can't, you have, you can't come out here for a second? You're cutting his hair? No, I was just saying about how like this paragraph is crazy. They're talking about what we think about is what we're gonna like. I was festering all night with this negative thought, and then I brought that to you, and it just turned. I didn't come to you with like, oh, here's how we're gonna solve. We're gonna. This is gonna be taken care of. It was like fear-based shit. It's just cool reading, and I just wanted to. I didn't know if you were. I didn't know if you were. Yeah, she's cool. But so I just, I came to her with that fear, with that, it just made, and then she came to me with her thing, and then now we're like fighting, and then she's locking herself in the room. I kicked down the door. It got crazy.
A seed got in the book. You plant that seed with the thought.
Yeah, and there's been like multiple seeds planted over the past couple weeks, and it's almost like God is just continuing to push me.
God's gonna let you
further into the fear, like because it's like just like different levels of it. Because I've lost. Oh, I learned to lose. Well, no, you're gonna learn to lose more and more on higher levels, and with more at stake, and with more people involved, and on a public, and this is something that I signed up for. So it's like, this is great because I feel like after all the crazy stuff I put out today, I'm excited to do one outlining the solution, like with her present, talking about how I brought that negative energy into the conversation and I let it fester instead of going, oh, we're going to figure this out. But that's just like, this isn't an excuse. So I'm not saying it's like the way I want to be, but it is the way I was raised.
Right.
So I am working against, it's a tough, the alcoholism in my entire bloodline is fucking insane. And like all my aunt, cousins, my uncles, my grandpa, they've all died of alcoholism. I'm the only sober one in the whole fucking family. So it's like,
You're building a new character.
Yeah, I'm like
Still,
building it. I'm
with
like
15 years,
doing
you're
it.
still building a new character.
Yeah, but this craziness is coming from the alcoholic mindset, which doesn't have anything to do with me drinking or using. It's like I'm up against like generations of deep-seated fear-based thinking and self-centered. So like, all right, cool, right on, God. Like, thank you for allowing me to stay sober one more day. Thank you for allowing me to put my ego aside in this moment, come to the meeting, and I feel a little bit better. And already thinking, oh, I'm not going to do the meeting. I'm not going to do the podcast. I'm just going to sulk in my room all night. I mean, the thoughts I've had since I kicked the door in have been pretty gnarly.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I'm like giving myself an attaboy for like not letting those things fester. And I feel like for me, the more I talk about it, like I am right now, like I'm already in a better energy, and like God is slowly coming through to me through you guys and through this meeting. Yeah, but like he's working through you guys. That's for me, that's the most powerful example of God is through our connection with other human beings.
It's like when
I was just gonna say that like it's like that, like life happens, like no matter what, life happens, whether we're sharing it on a platform or whether we're at home by ourselves with no cameras. So I'm not sitting here, and you're not justifying anything, but I can relate to a lot of things you said about generational curses, because that's what I believe they are. My grandfather died of alcoholism. My great-grandpa, like, so I get this. So it's like we're similar in a sense when it comes to our fathers.
The other day, and someone's like, "Don't fucking blame your dad for your fucking narcissism." It's like, yo, like,
all right,
give me a
hold on.
break, dog. Like, yo, these motherfuckers hit hard, bro, and they go for the throat on some like not like loving shit. Sorry,
no, but it's here's the thing. Like I'm taking this in and looking at you saying like, I posted this and it was bad. Hamish couldn't even watch it. Oh, it's real shit. And I'm not saying you had to kick a door down and freak out, but it's like the turnaround. You're turning around, and you just, because this is you. This isn't me. It's not her. It's not anyone else. It's you saying, oh, and I can't wait to fucking go through the solution.
Yeah, that's the important part.
That it is. But guess what though? We're not justifying.
I want to spend all week in the solution.
Right. But listen. For some reason, for alcoholics like me, I have to do certain things to get in the solution.
Yeah.
And to the fact that we know the truth doesn't mean we're going to walk in that every second of every day. We are striving. So that's like, I'll give you an attaboy for saying that, because you literally said, I want to do, you shared a moment that was hard for everyone, but now you're like, I'm going to post the solution. No, a lot of people don't have a solution.
We're going to right after this meeting.
Yeah, but yeah.
Well, that's what I was.
Yeah.
Like just like when I showed up here, I created you guys to help me. Like we're all sort of each other's things, and like the generational thing. Who my touchstone is my daughter. She's not my biological daughter. She's my stepdaughter, but she's my daughter. When I figured out who she was in my life, she is my untreated alcoholism. Why we lock horns, why we get crazy on each other.
Yeah.
She's 15 now, but with our journey, my wife and I are soulmates, right? We're sitting at the table with her, and when she's the one that this is all about. She's the one picking this story. I don't know what it is 2 years later, knocking horns, and I'm like, who is she? And I was like, oh my God, she is me without a solution, right? She has all, that's why we see each other and we go boom. So the generational alcoholism is also like, a spiritual thing too, is because I experience it not through my parents. They got all that shit too, but I mean, where I really found the thing was with my stepdaughter. And when I realized she is me without a solution, and it's the mirror when when I'm arguing with her and she's screaming at me and we're crazy, I'm looking at myself and she's looking at herself and we're just going at ourselves.
Yeah.
It's the weirdest shit ever, but like it's so when Pat's doing this thing, that's why I was like, oh, it's gnarly, is because I was like, okay, I get it.
Right.
What's going on here?
But it's like it's what I'm striving for, what I'm looking for on a daily basis is a spiritual experience, not a spiritual awakening, right? Because we talk, like Pat and I talked about that last night, about a spirit, like difference between a spiritual experience and a spiritual awakening. So for me, what I got out of a spiritual experience is that it's a change in, it's just not. And if I don't share or I can't tell somebody about that, it's never going to change. I have to seek God to let go of self. That's the only answer for me.
Mm-hmm.
There's no other answer. There's no other answer for me. Yet I don't always seek God and I hold on to self. But it's like being in a situation, or it's being in this type of setting that it's like, it makes sense. So today's Monday. I got to take this shit with me for the rest of the week. Because if I'm talking it, I better be walking it. I was talking about spiritual experience. How we talked
as opposed to a spiritual awakening.
Yeah, and it's like that was so, it just rained.
This
so
is the experience.
Huh?
This is the experience.
Right.
Every
Because
day.
this is a change in what? This is a change in attitude. This is God working. This is God doing what I can't do for myself.
I just had a personality change.
100% you
which is a spiritual experience.
Yeah.
I can see it.
Yeah.
But again, this is advanced stuff that's
Because
going
I
on.
can
Everyone here,
Well, your energy's shifted
Yeah,
throughout the
man.
course of the
I
minute.
know. I watched the dude who was. When I saw the thing 2 hours ago, I was like, "Oh, dude, this is fucking next level." Where I was like, I was like, it's almost too real, and I was like, I wonder if Pat's gonna show, dude.
Wow.
No, because I was like, wow, that when I saw that's me, I'm in bed. It's like,
can you believe there are people that are like, you guys are just great actors?
So
Like, yeah, I better get a fucking Grammy or an Oscar for that shit. Like,
but it's not.
you could tell it was real.
But this is deep. Everyone who's here in this space, and even on the
No, I really
on a
appreciate it.
different level, man. Like,
I really appreciate everyone here coming, and I just kind of glanced real quick at some of the people that are.
Well, someone just asked the question. They're asking what are you taking away from today? What can you take away?
Well, first of all, I just want to say I appreciate watching with love, and they're saying like, well done, right on. Like, I deal with my marriage through you and your wife, and I really appreciate those people, and I will, and I'm gonna say this: I've learned that I need to be praying for the other people who are spitting hate and venom.
Yeah, they need more love.
When I'm exposing these vulnerable, very things, they're just kind of like, I guess, kicking you when you're down. It's weird, that kind of person. So I just want to be able to pray for them. But I think that the big takeaway is like, when you're in that, when you get hit with the $20,000 thing, you have to, you have to choose. And I know this is just going to sound cliche, and I hear people say this and I go, bullshit, not till you're in it. We have to choose the solution, the glass half full, look at the gratitude. We have to choose God, and we have to talk about, like, we're going to figure this out. Let's come together on some, like, we're going to figure it out. And let's come together on some
Positive vibrations. Man.
yeah, like positive, but it's hard to have the positive vibrations when the fear and the debt is so overwhelming. But we can do that, and we can run the numbers. And that's the other thing I was talking about last week is we have to do the work. We have to take the steps. We have to sit down and have the meetings and do the planning and run the numbers. And we have to do all that stuff. We can't just be like, oh, I'm going to give it up to God. No, that's not how it works.
You take action.
You have to take the action. We have to use, yes, but you have to, but the equal in the program is that there are specific steps that need to be taken. We need to schedule the therapy sessions with our wives. We need to talk about the problems. We need to communicate openly and honestly. All these things need to be done with God. You're right. Yeah. But we still need to use our intellect and not just give up and brush the shit under the fucking rug and go like, oh, I'm going to give it up to God and brush it under the rug.
You're using God to give you the notion.
Yeah, but we have to address each specific thing with our intellect and God. We can't just give everything up to God in a general way and sweep shit under the rug because it's going to come back. It's
practice what you preach.
God.
And that's the question I was asking last week was like specifically, what should I do with God? Like, because I was still trying to figure that out because I had gone and the answer was revealed to me, and I'm grateful for that. And because like you just shared about something specific with your daughter, like that's epic. You just shared about something that happened to you with your grandma and being poor, like homeless. Like I feel like we don't get an opportunity to share in those specific ways at bigger meetings, and maybe we can use this. And that's the thing. I'm like showing the actual event so people can see and relate. Because that's the thing that I get so much out of films because I'm able to see it in a movie. Like films have a way of touching me that nothing else does because I'm seeing it. It's written in a poetic way. The music is making me feel. It's like all the art forms combined. You know, hearing someone share from a podium is rad, but I think
you want to go deeper.
Yeah, I want to go a little deeper, and I think we can do that here. I love that you guys are here.
I think really kind of the beauty of what you started here is we've all keep showing up here, right? So we're all getting to know each other on a deeper level, which is bringing to surf eating. It's very contained to like what that is. Here we've signed up for a different boat ride in that sense. And what I was thinking when you were talking about is Emmett Fox doesn't write this book because he's bored. He's writing this specifically because he's addressing how hard this is. Why he's talking the finance and the banks and the costs and all this stuff is because
you can gloss over it just reading the Bible with those words.
This is so
hard to understand.
This is so hard. Life is moving on. Things are changing. We're doing this. It's hard to get to know other human beings
in an intimate way. Man. Alter Your Life. He's got one
around
of
the world.
10 Commandments.
Around the world. And
you can look at that every day. But he's got the 10 Commandments, Alter Your Life. There's a few other.
Like, I actually read this example here about adultery, and I think that that's being used as an example. The highest level, the hardest one for human beings to not do. And if any dude in here says, don't do this, I'm calling him a liar. Especially today, when you just all you got to do is open up your Instagram feed and you see like just sex everywhere. I mean, it's like, so I don't know necessarily if we're supposed to have the power to not think about what that's triggering, but I do love that this example is being shown to us because it's like if we're thinking about, it's the thought that predates the action. So it's like we have to catch the thought and turn it around. It's okay. I don't necessarily think, I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know if they're saying that it's a sin to have the thought, but they are saying that. But for me, the only power I have right now is what I do with that thought, whether I'm able to give that thought to God and like turn that thought around. Because when I get hit with the $20,000 debt, like I'm not going to immediately be, oh, right on, let's fucking figure this out. It's gonna hit me right away, and the thought's gonna be negative at first, but I can give it to God and I can change that through. That's my thing.
An agitated pause first.
Yeah.
It's gonna hit you.
We underline pause.
It's the first act. It's the first direction.
Yeah.
Because when we pause, no, that's the
Yeah.
first direction in the big book.
It's gonna
Is
hit
the pause.
You're gonna get agitated. It says it.
Yeah. So when we pause, what does it say? We pause so that we can
Pause and then
examine
pray.
our thoughts, and then our thoughts dictate our actions, and then we can be the master
The
of
prayer
our
helps
own.
the thought. Yeah.
We can be the master
But
of our own.
the pausing, like, because it says in the reading, but it's also like when we're going through this, it's in life.
Yeah.
Because when I'm attacked with something, when something happens, it's the hardest thing to pause.
You gotta say, hold up.
Right.
Bro.
But once you
Hold up.
can do that, like, because it takes practice. It takes it like all this shit, God, sobriety, being a good husband, everything we're striving
It's
to
all
be.
a beginning.
We have and we have to start somewhere
Yeah.
and keep putting one foot in front of the other. Quick question online. I don't know who wants to answer this, but it's the God question. People are having a hard
Can I
time
just
with God.
before that? Can I
Yes,
just
go ahead.
one thing what you were saying about the adultery thing and the finance thing? One's happening to you, the other you're doing. Like the thought life inside your health about adultery, that's you actively participating in a thought life and an out towards outward. The finance thing is happening to you. There's a different
But like
no, when you can petition God to remove the thought life. The action that happens to you, that's almost
I mean, I don't too weird. I don't want to get too weird, but like, is there someone in this room who doesn't watch porn?
and I'll
Okay, so you're the only one.
I'll tell you exactly.
So, but I'm just saying though, everyone else who does is committing
no.
adultery.
I went
according
to
according to
no.
so that's kind of crazy.
What I would say is this: is I went to God.
I don't
with
know
it.
that I agree with that.
I went to God with it a couple years ago, dude. I went to God. I asked God to remove the pornography from my eyes. I asked God. I petitioned God, just like we said. And dude, fucking boom.
And you're better for it.
100%.
You're like so grateful that you don't have that.
I'm stoked.
Right.
I'm free of it because it is this weird thing that's like free past. I went and just petitioned God, like Paul says. I went and petitioned God. I said, dude, remove this from my eyes. God's like, okay, you're petitioning me. Now here's what you do, dude. And boom. And
I mean, I don't go to
look
porn
at
sites and watch
anymore.
it, but I know it comes and I fucking swipe left.
Right.
Yeah, I don't
You
look
know,
at it anymore.
it's not pornography.
Right. Yeah,
I'm
I just have a little bit of a different
I don't go to porn.
view on that. Like, I'm cool with it. Like, you're stoked
Why do I know it?
in the same way that you're stoked to not have it. Like, I'm stoked to have it, and I'm cool with it.
No, I don't have a judgment. I'm just explaining my.
And I'm not. My wife's not mad
How it
either.
worked. You
We're
asked
both
me that.
chill. on
You
it.
asked the
It's
thing,
all
and I go,
good.
yeah, I went there. I did that.
Just to
I
let us know
petitioned
that
it.
we all have. We're all born in sin.
Yeah.
Whether it's porn, whether it's violence, whether it's whatever it is. I think he's using that because he goes on to talk about killing later on too.
Yep.
Because I think about putting people in the wood chipper all the
Yeah.
time. I don't think about
I
porn.
don't
I
think
think
about
about
that.
He's going
I'd
to talk
rather-
about that
I
later
have
on. He's going to talk about that
I'd
later on
rather
and say,
think
if you
about
even
the point
think
of
about
that. So,
hurting somebody, you may as well have killed them.
Okay,
Lord's the same
a lot
thing.
of people are asking about a God of our own understanding. So who wants to take that one real quick?
well, so look, it's just like, for me, it's just like love,
Tell them.
peace, courage, faith, like just love, like the ability to change fear and anger to love. Like God right now, like God just worked through everyone here in this meeting and changed my personality.
Yeah.
So a spiritual experience is a personality change. It says it in the book. We just read
Yep.
they define a spiritual experience at the end of the book. So we're reading the beginning of it, and then we went to the end to reference what it meant. And it basically means a personality change,
Radical.
which can only be brought about through. I can't. If I would have just stayed in bed and not done this,
To see
the
what's
personality
deeper.
change. Hold on, let me just finish. If I would have just stayed, had the personality change,
Yeah.
but be one in the meeting, and I had a personality change experience. That's one example of God.
And it's
He-
a
he
program,
worked-
and it's a
he worked-
program of action. That's what I got
but
from
on
that.
the question,
Go
right,
ahead.
though, God of your understanding is you have a different understanding of God that based upon where you are. Your understanding of God's way different than everybody else's understanding.
That's just mine.
But
Right.
that's the open corridor of it,
Yeah.
which gives us the freedom to be a Muslim or a Buddhist
Mhm.
or a crack and maybe just a group of drunks or whatever it may be. Is dude? Some people are walking out the door like, oh, fuck,
Yeah,
I'm out, dude. That's me. But a God of your understanding could be what you just explained and what you explain and what you explain, what I explain is we're here to elevate it versus label it.
To broaden it.
Yeah.
What do you?
God worked and fucking come down here
Yeah.
and sit here.
Yeah.
So before it was us, it was your own fucking head that got you to get your ass down here.
Yeah.
Just like you got me here that one day.
Yeah.
No, you are coming here, motherfucker. Okay.
Yeah.
And it's the thing that's happening.
Yeah, man. That's right. I'm so glad you're here.
Do you ladies have any insight?
Yeah, do you guys want to share it since you haven't?
Liza has a lot of insight, she said, so
Let's
she'd
hear it.
like to share.
You want to share? Go ahead.
On anything, on what God is to you.
Anything.
No, I'm a big Christian. I believe in my own God is Jesus, and so I'm thinking about what you guys are saying: love, peace, joy. That you're saying, you're describing God.
Yeah.
God is good with His essence and love, so nothing negative comes from Him. Everything negative is the opposite of God. And then a lot of people would ask, well, why let all this evil happen? And that is a question that I keep thinking about.
Because
If God is
blessed
so
are
good, why is this world so evil?
Because this isn't God's world.
Yeah, self-will
those-
run.
No,
riot.
well, my analogy on that one is because blessed are those that mourn. It says it in this book. If bad things happen and you mourn and go to God for that, you're blessed. I believe that.
Well, I just think is the kind of the yin yang.
Mhm.
You know that symbol, black, white, and it's like a circle, and it's like the opposites, and like night, day, dark,
Mhm.
light. Like we don't know. The only way that we understand things is if we understand the opposite.
Yeah.
Like we don't know peace unless we know pain. The reason that joy is so awesome is because we know sadness, and the reason that the day is bright is because we know about the dark. And so I think there's this weird balance and this negative, positive, dark, light thing happening that we don't quite understand. And
So
that's
we really should appreciate the pain and fear and everything that comes.
because it gives
And we
us.
should really let us.
Yeah,
Grateful that
because
it's not your
well, because it gives us a deeper appreciation for the opposite of that. And also, I think our minds are finite and God is infinite,
Mhm.
and our understand. That's why we're always seeking. That's why we can do this for the rest of our lives, because we'll never fully understand something like God, which kind of is cool because I'm always learning more.
It's always a mystery.
Yeah, but I do know one thing for sure. God exists in the connection I have to other human beings and love. And God exists through forgiveness. And I watched this show with God, dude. This is the end of that show with this much. I know this much is true. It's an HBO show with Mark Ruffalo. He plays twin brothers. And at the end of the show, he breaks down the only thing he knows to be true, which is these few things that he says, that God exists and our connection to others and in forgiveness and you know, pain is how we grow. And it's a weird thing. I'm with you. It's weird. Like, why would there be so much pain and suffering, you know?
Yeah, when you're in it, when you're in pain and you have been so good your whole life, you're asking why this pain?
Yeah.
If like literally there's no reason.
God has the reason and we'll never understand it.
That's why I try to take my wins to God too. So like I'm quick to be like, God help me, right? But I'm not quick to be like, damn, God, I just got a fat check. I'm gonna help somebody out.
Thank you.
Grateful, yeah.
Right. I lose sight of that so easily, right? Like, oh, I won. Nah, God used me as a vehicle, and I lose sight of that so quick, right? But shit hits the fan. I'm like, God, I need you. Like, where are you? And he's like, bro, I've been here all along.
Right.
Also, our finite when in reality we just have like an understanding. Like when a lion kills a gazelle, it's fucking horrific, but it's just the circle of life. But we're like these sensitive, thoughtful, I don't know, for lack of a better word, almost simple-minded humans, and we don't understand like the bigger, like it's
Our God
very
is a jealous one, right?
What?
Our God is a jealous one. When I start adoring other things that are not God, whether it be women, money, success, my career, he's gonna check me. At least for me, that's how I feel. Like God's gonna check me and say, hey,
relax.
Right. But my relationship with God is gonna be forever.
Yeah.
Eternal.
It's a forever journey finding God.
Yeah.
And understanding God. That's the purpose of 12-step work, is to find God and to try to be the light of God. That's the purpose of this meeting. That's my purpose on earth, is to try to be the light of God. And I'm never gonna like conquer that perfectly.
Bob Marley Uprising, the entire album explains it all pretty well.
Really?
Yeah, from start to finish, it's all in there.
But what songs are on that album? Any of the hits?
It's just Uprising, the whole album.
Right. It's like Rebel songs.
I know Redemption songs. They're all in there.
Redemption
man.
songs on that.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, it's like that album start to finish.
What time is it?
9:30.
How is he?
Hey, thanks to everyone for coming. I really appreciate you guys coming.
If
All right,
you want to
let's do a
donate to
prayer.
the meeting, please donate.
Who's Cash App?
Who's Cash App, please and thank you. Thanks
Once
for being
again.
here.
Silent prayer, every choice?
Sure, let's just do the serenity prayer.
With no hands though.
What?
Oh, go ahead. No, go ahead.
We're in love, it's
You guys,
okay.
they're in love.
All right, God,
God,
grant
Grant
me
me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference.
Amen. Awesome. Maverick, you want to pray?
Keep coming back. It works if you work it.
Are you a good God boy?
Awesome.
You believe in God?
I recognize it, bro. I was like, who am I this kid is?
This guy.
Bye guys, thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Alright, see ya.
Good man, bro. You really got this.
You
got no choice.
I'm excited.
What?
I love chaos. I'm ready to see this video.
Wait,
What is it
come
on?
here.
I need to see this kicking down the door.
And TikTok.
I'm fucking
All of
hyped.
it.
I'm a door kicker too. I feel you. She probably has it. I'm here for it. I fuck with that kind of
But it's cool because at the end we're like trying to look at what actually happened.
What? For real?
Watch it. Come on. I do. Wow. You're not alone. You're not later, bro.